Hey, hey, you know who I am. I am Dr. Kre, your board certified family medicine physician, and I specialize in helping people who are looking for awesome health care. A doctor who cares for you, who goes all the way out of her way through what's called direct primary care. My direct primary care office is amazing. We offer routine labs at a discounted price. We offer dispensing medications as well, and our access to the doctor via text message and email. So let's talk about it, y'all. Let's talk about the measles. If you have any questions or comments, I'll address them after the chat. Put in here where you're watching from. Can't wait to love on you guys. But I've been getting a whole bunch of calls to my office about the measles. Like, oh my gosh, what do we need to do about the measles outbreak? Recently in St. Clair County, I'm located in Alabama, and in St. Clair County, we had a baby who's yet to be old enough to get vaccinated by the measles, come up with measles. So it's been a lot of buzzing. My phone has been ringing off the hook, so I wanted to make sure to do a quick Facebook Live. It's probably not going to be quick. It's going to be a lot of information. But I did some research for you guys, and I wanted you guys to know so that you can be well informed. So since 2019, there has been 839 individual confirmed cases of the measles in 23 states. Yes, y'all, 839. That's a whole lot, right? So 839 confirmed cases. And we're talking about something that was absolutely eradicated, right? Eradicated a long time ago, right? We shouldn't be going back. So why, Dr. Kre? Why are we starting to see the measles more and more? We're starting to see the measles more and more because now everybody got a passport. Who got passports? You got your passport with your stamps on deck. Everybody's traveling. We're traveling, right? So traveling abroad, and people are bringing the measles back when they travel to places like Israel, Africa, Europe, Asia, and you bring it on back home with you. You're going over there eating and drinking out the water, And I love to travel. I love it. But be mindful when you're going on your cruises or when you're going to the all-inclusive places. Be mindful that, look it up. See what's in the atmosphere, what's out there. What diseases are endemic for those areas that you're traveling in, so you can be on the ball. Make sure you're washing your hands a whole lot. So remember, Europe, Asia, Africa, Israel are all places that have not had the eradication of measles. So be mindful that if you're going there, you need to be knowing. And also the second reason why we're seeing an insurgence of the measles is there are a lot of people that are opting out of vaccines nowadays. So it depends. A lot of people do it based on their religion. A lot of people do it based on their beliefs that, oh my gosh, if I vaccinate my child, they're going to have this or that disease. People have their own reasons for not vaccinating their kids. But however, if you're in an area and none of your friends vaccinating, nobody's vaccinating, you're at an increased risk for getting these diseases that we've not seen. I mean, in the last few years, we've seen more tuberculosis than we've ever seen them in our lifetime. That's nothing that you vaccinate from, but just think about these diseases that people are starting to see. So, mind you, so one, if you're traveling abroad, make sure you know where you're going, what you're getting when you get there. Two, pockets of unvaccinated people can end up having the measles brought into areas. So say for instance, if you live in California, nobody in your area believes in doing vaccines, but you come all the way over here to the University of Alabama, or you come all the way to Auburn, or you come all the way to Alabama State, you go to Alabama A&M, you're going to be in this enclosed area of people that a lot of people have had vaccines. But if you got people that don't have their vaccinations up to date and you've never had them, then guess what? You're at risk for that disease as well. So the next question is, so the first question is why? Why are we starting to see it more? Travel abroad, people are not vaccinating at the rate that they were years ago. The next question I've been getting is, I've had the vaccine already. Can I still contract the measles? So just so you know, the answer is yes. But statistics say that about 3% of the people who've had both shots. So usually you get your shots at about 12 months and 4 years old. That's when you get the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. That protects you from the measles. So therefore, if you've only had one of those shots, then you're at risk for being not all the way covered, or you don't have full immunity. So yes, you can get it. 3% of the people. That's a small amount, really, but you know, unless you're one of them 3%. So 3% of people who get both of those vaccines can actually get the measles virus. All right. So what can we do? So if you actually get it, what can happen? So you've seen the picture of that little baby. The baby got a rash all over his face. But it's worse if an adult comes down with the measles than it is if kids come down with it. It's contagious up to 4 days before you start having symptoms. 4 days before, y'all. So that's scary because you don't know you have the measles 4 days before time. Just like you don't know you had a cold, you know, whatever, coming down. You may feel a little achy or whatever. But what can the measles do to an adult? So the measles, to an adult, the measles can give severe pneumonia, which pneumonia can kill people. It can give severe diarrhea. It can cause brain inflammation. It can cause ear infections, and it even can cause death. So now that if you've had both your vaccines, the question now is, how do you know if my vaccines worked? Okay, so the only way you would know if your vaccines have worked properly is to go to your doctor and say, I need measles, mumps, rubella, titer. Somebody type that in the chat, T-I-T-E-R. So you ask for this lab to be drawn, and it comes back and says, yes, you're immune to measles. Yes, you're immune to mumps. Yes, you're immune to rubella. If it comes back in any shape, form, or fashion that your immunity is too low, you would have to get the shot again. Now, here's the catch-22. Insurance typically does not pay for the titer. If you've gone to nursing school, you had to get, or medical school, you had to get all these titers. I remember having to get checked for hepatitis A, hepatitis B, measles, mumps, rubella, all of these kind of things to make sure that I wasn't going to be caring for you guys and then give you something bad. Okay? So be mindful that you can ask your doctor for a titer. But what I would do is, I will call my insurance company beforehand and say, hey, I want to get the MMR titer. How much is that going to cost me? Your doctor's office does not know how much it's going to cost. We do not know how much it's going to cost because that depends on your plan. So they say, oh, we don't cover that. We don't cover that for you. Then ask them to get a cash price for you so that you'll know off gate how much that's going to be if you feel like you need to have it done. Okay, so let's do a quick review. Why are people getting measles more? Because they're traveling abroad. Africa, Asia, Israel, Europe all have the measles running around there. Okay, and so you going there, you going to have fun, and you picking up the measles, bringing it back to the United States, sharing everything. So 2, there are pockets of unvaccinated people throughout the United States. Everybody knows somebody's like, I'm not vaccinating my child. I wouldn't dare do that. Da, 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 da. So people have these reasons that they go into that, but you have to be mindful that if the child is not vaccinated, they are at risk for getting all of these diseases if you are going all over the world. So 2 is why. So that's why it's number 1. 2 is, I've had both of my vaccines. Can I still get it? Yes, you can. 3% of the population can get measles if you have had both of the vaccines. It's really bad on adults. It's contagious up to 4 days before and up until 4 days after you've have a known diagnosis. So 4 days before you get the diagnosis, and even after you're trying to get feeling better, 4 days after, right? It can cause pneumonia, ear infections, brain inflammation, severe diarrhea, even death. But it's a virus, and it's got to kind of take its course. What do? You rest. You rest. You wait it out. No one wants to wait anything out these days. And if it progresses to pneumonia or anything like that, then you can have antibiotics. But for the most part, you got to wait for it to take its course. Lastly, so I've gotten these calls as well about age. So what if I was born before this year? Do I need it? So the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine was started in 1971. Put that in the chat, please, somebody. 1971 was when the measles, mumps, rubella was out. But the measles vaccine itself came out in 1963. So if you were born probably around 1963 or after, it's a good chance that you had the vaccine already. But if you were born before then, it's a good chance you flat out had the measles, right? So some grandmamas and mamas out there are asking, you may have had the measles. Your parents may not be here to be able to answer that question and say, oh yes, you did. You did have the measles. Everybody had the measles. Like our generation, I'm in my late 30s. Everybody remembers having the chicken pox. Don't y'all remember having the chicken pox? The chicken pox, and we all, my sister, somebody got it first. And my grandmother called all us in there to be in the room with her so we can go ahead on and get the chicken pox and be done with it, right? But nowadays, there's a vaccine for the chicken pox. There's a vaccine for the chicken pox. Zoe probably will never get the chicken pox. She will not know what this chicken pox is because there's a vaccine. So if you're routinely vaccinating your kids, a lot of this stuff you won't have to deal with. But be mindful that in 2019, in this here, United States of America, there has been 839 individual confirmed cases in 23 states. Got 50 of them, 23 states. Traveling abroad adds to that. Pockets of unvaccinated people add to that. You can get you can still get the measles if you've had the vaccine. 3%, that's 3% of people that have had the vaccine can get it. And if you get it as an adult, you will be contagious 4 days before, up to 4 days after you've known about it. And it can cause pneumonia, ear infections, severe diarrhea, brain inflammation, and even death. So this is something very serious. Make sure you wash your hands. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. It's a virus. It's got to takes its own course. Post-exposure. If you've been exposed, this is good right here. So if you've been exposed to the measles and you've never been vaccinated, within 72 hours, you need to go somewhere and say, I need this shot. Get to the local health department or call your family medicine doctor and say, hey, I need to get this shot, but it's got to be within 3 days, okay? So if you are pregnant, if you are a baby, if you're immune suppressed, like say for instance, if you're on prednisone or immunosuppressive medications like lupus. I see somebody on here and I know they got lupus. So like lupus, you need to make sure that they know that, because your immune system doesn't fight like mine does. So you have to be really mindful that if I get exposed, if you know you've gotten exposed to somebody with measles, they call and say, you was at the birthday party, kids' birthday party, children had found out Johnny had the measles. Then if you're pregnant, if it's a baby, or you're immune suppressed, you have to get antibodies. Or antibodies is what come out and fight, which is called an immunoglobulin. They have to give you that within 6 days of the exposure. Now, this doesn't cure your measles. Getting the vaccine really fast doesn't cure the measles. And getting the immunoglobulin doesn't cure the measles. It shortens your time of having the symptoms. It kind of eases your time through having the symptoms, okay? So be mindful of those kind of things. MMR was started in 1971. That's measles, mumps, rubella vaccine. And measles itself was started in 1963. So you like, what am I supposed to do now, Dr. Kre? You give me all this stuff. I'm freaking out. I'm washing my hands all the time. Call your insurance company to see if they cover a measles titer, T-I-T-E-R. If they do not, ask your family medicine or internal medicine doctor to check out your check out your cash pricing so that you know that this is something you got to pay out of cash because you want to know. And from there, you say, if it says yes, you're immune to it, that means your body is doing what it's got to do if it comes in contact with it. If it says your body is not immune, then you need the vaccine. Somebody says, do we need to get the shot again if we were vaccinated as a kid? Okay, so to answer that question, if you were vaccinated as a kid, you should theoretically be immune, unless you're in that 3% of people that got 2 shots and didn't respond to the shots like you should have. But the only way to know that is ask them to do a titer. As grown-ups, we ask them for a titer. If you've been in nursing school, you've had the titer done. If you've been to medical school, you've had the titer done. If you've done anything like that, they make you get the titer far in advance so that you can know that you're not going to get a measles to somebody that you're taking care of. So I hope that's been very beneficial. I've been getting a lot of calls, a lot of questions about the measles, especially since the possible case in St. Clair County here in Alabama. So remember, ask questions. Call your insurance company if you really, really, really want to know. So if you want to know, like I got to know this because I'm with children all the time, ask them if they cover it. If they don't, it's some stuff you got to pay for. You know, insurance doesn't cover titers usually. So ask them for that. So I'll be looking to see if you have any more questions. Thanks so much for joining us. Can I just go ask for a shot to be safe? No, your insurance may not just cover an extra shot. They may not cover an extra shot to say, oh, let's just do one for good measure. No, that's not going to work because we have to do things that's medically necessary. Now, if you go get that lab done and it says that, yes, you need it, then they'll cover the vaccine. All right, guys, you know who I am. I'm Dr. Kre. I'm your board-certified family medicine physician, and I help people who are just overwhelmed with the current healthcare situation. They're looking for a doctor who's compassionate, loving, and just want to love all over you. Through my direct primary care, we offer in-house drug dispensing, discount on labs, and direct access to me, the doctor. You can follow me at Dr. Kre, that's DoctorKre, on Instagram. Find me on Instagram, guys. I'll be back in another couple of weeks with something that's pressing in the news. So hope this was helpful. If it was, share it. And if you have topics you want me to discuss, send me a message. Have a good one.